Guys, we did it. We finally got him. Lionel Messi is in the team finally, the Messiah himself. So, what a huge day we had today. It wasn't just Lionel Messi that we ended up picking up. We ended up picking up a couple other players that you guys are going to see later on in the video. But this squad is, even though the dynamic is there from what you guys saw at the end of last video, we made a couple additional signings that even I wasn't realistically expecting to get today. So I was really happy with that. But before we jump into what those are, if you guys could leave a like on this video, I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you don't follow the channel already, please hit that follow button down below. Your support's greatly appreciated. I'm trying to grow this series as much as possible and give you guys the content that you want. But these videos take a really long time to edit. This was probably about 3-4 hours just because there was so much gameplay and footage. But anyway, that's not what you guys are here for. You guys are here to see the Messiah himself. So let's get right into exactly what you guys are watching. So at 1 o'clock, all this content came out. The good news was that there was some tradable packs in there that came out with the marquee matchups. There was a couple of SBCs that you could do where you could actually get players that would go into some of this fodder and stuff like that. They released a Liga Santander that had 5 player picks. Unfortunately, we didn't get a team of the season in that one, but we did get Ivan Rakitic that will be fodder for a future one. And then they did these La Liga SBC type of, it's like a La Liga premium pack, I guess, where you get 3 rares and then a bunch of gold non-rares. So if you're looking at doing the Liga SBC, it'd be very handy. We ended up doing about 10 of them. I don't show that in this video because there's a lot of garbage in it. But the short and sweet of it is we got Team of the Season Lucas Perez, who's only going for about 38k. And we picked up Marcelo and Longley. So those were the only good pulls from it. The rest of it was just kind of garbage and stuff like that. But I just wanted to throw that in there in case you guys were interested in doing those. This itself, the marquee matchups, was a very interesting one because even though I didn't think the packs were that great, everybody got like obsessed with doing all the SBCs and doing the marquee matchups, and players were selling. So like Everton players, Chelsea players, Ajax players, pretty much everything was selling today. So we ended up making about 300k by just selling all this fodder that was in the club. Essentially, players were going for about double their value. So the downside with paying 3.39 for Messi, which was way over what I wanted to pay, was we ended up getting left short of getting Sergio Ramos. So we got left with about 795k, and he was going for about I would say 950 at the time. So we ended up buying him for about 920, but he was about 950. So that was my goal, to get up to 950. And we ended up doing about 150k worth of just selling players. Guys like Kasper Schmeichel were going for 6k. Chelsea players, everything that was Bundesliga was going for at least 2k. So all of that stuff, little bit by bit, it just adds up. So if you guys are wondering, like, how do you trade, how do you buy and sell and do all that stuff, like, stuff in your club goes for more than you think it does. Anybody that I see, like even content creators that are just discarding all of these like gold rares, I just shudder, because right now gold rares, that's all you need to do this like La Liga premium SBC that they have, where you get the 3 rares and a bunch of other gold non-rares, and people are just rinsing through those. So if you've got guys from like the Danish league that are just gold rares, you think that they're worth nothing, they're probably worth at least 1,200-1,300 coins. So you just put hundreds and hundreds of those that you've had in your club just sitting there for nothing. If they're untradeable, put them into the SBC yourself, do it yourself. But if they are tradable, flip them. You guys know from my previous videos, I like to stay liquid. So that's my mantra that I like to just reinstill with you guys, is just sell, 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 sell. Stay liquid. Don't get sucked into doing SBCs unless you have all these untradables, because believe me, that's what EA want. They want you to put all your tradable stuff into SBCs and get untradeable cards because they want to take coins off the market. So be smart with what you're doing because there's a lot of money to be made. While guys are out there chasing big name players, we ended up picking up the difference of Sergio Ramos. We ended up picking up Marc Ter-Stegan. We ended up picking up Toni Kroos. Like, these are the guys that I wouldn't have been able to get if I wasn't liquid like I am. So that's kind of my learning lesson for the start of this video, just to make sure that you're selling everything. So we are going to get into gameplay. You guys are going to see a couple games that we played in this. I'm going to get quite diligent about breaking it down because there was a story to be told during a lot of the gameplay, which you guys are going to find out that I've been beating a drum for a while in terms of the actual gameplay and morale being still in the game. So it's not something that I like to talk about all the time. I know I sound like a broken record sometimes, but this video, I'm hoping will kind of prove what my feeling has been for years now, is that morale is still in the game. It might not be on the cards themselves in terms of being visually there, but I'm still 99% certain it's in the game code, whether it's on purpose, whether it's by accident, or whether it's just something that's just a bug that's just created that type of effect. But you guys are going to see that throughout the gameplay. So as we jump into the gameplay, that's the team that we're going in with. We did end up picking up Sergio Ramos. We are using Courtois here. Don't mind the coins. I had to kind of move stuff out of order, so I tried to put it in an order that made the most sense. We put all the SVCs kind of at the start of the video so you guys could see that, but the coin balances might kind of differ because I had to kind of chop it up. When all that content came out at once, sometimes I had to sell guys, do an SBC, go in. I ended up picking up Messi in the middle of doing the SBC, so I had to kind of move everything around in order for it to make sense for the course of this video. So the first game that we jump into here, this guy's got a pretty decent team. He was lucky enough to actually pack that Karim Benzema red, so jealous about that fact. But, you know, if I saw my team come up on the screen, I would think one or two things. This guy is either going to be really good and have like a super beast team, or he's going to be absolute trash and just bought himself a team and knows how to put together a team and credit card FC. So, excuse me, you guys are going to see how that ends up here. I actually tried doing a live comm with this originally at first because I like watching live comms in general. I like seeing live reactions, but two things happened. One is the content that I was producing was really poor because I would start a sentence and then just stop talking because I would start focusing. And then two, my gameplay was really suffering. So apparently I'm really bad at multitasking when it comes to playing FIFA because I was just doing absolutely horrible when I was trying to multitask and do two things at once. So we caught that video, we stopped doing the live comm, and I just started focusing on the game, and next thing you know, we scored a goal and then the guy quit. So that was our first game of the day. Excuse me, engaging content there, drinking water. Excuse me. But yeah, our first game of the day, we ended up beating the guy 1-0. I don't know if he was trying to do an objective or if he just wanted to play a game and was just like, you know what, I don't want to play against this guy. So he just ended up quitting out. So a good little first run. Unfortunately, Messi goes 0 for 1 because he didn't even have enough time to actually score goals. But he did feel really rapid. The biggest difference that I felt with Lionel Messi was, even though that striker card was really, really good, this one's dribbling is insane. He just cuts back and forth. He almost auto dribbles a lot of the time, which I'll get to in a second. But this is the second opponent we come up against. This guy was a really good player. He had that Martin Odegaard. He had Visca from his Reds today. I know the error that they had didn't allow people generally that finished above, I believe, was it gold 3 or silver 1 or silver 3 or something along the lines. So basically anybody that finished above a certain level didn't have the right La Liga players in their picks. So I think they're giving those cards to the players if you open those packs really early, and then they're going to give you a second set of cards sometime later in the week when they fix that bug. So we ended up playing against this guy. Very good player. It was just a very odd game. My team kind of fell through the floor after that first goal. It was a decent goal. It was well worked. No complaints on my end. This guy was an absolute freak when it came to moving his keeper, though. He was very keeper happy. I don't think I've played guys that moved their keeper before, but this guy really moved his keeper a lot. Like he would be very aggressive with them. He was manually moving them all over the park. I don't know if he's a keeper in real life, but he just enjoyed doing it in general. So it was just really, really unorthodox to play against, because every time we got the ball in tight, he was moving his keeper around manually, and it was like very distracting, but he would always smother my players. And, that was just something that I wasn't used to. So unfortunately, it ended up stifling my offensive creativity. And sometimes when I was getting those through balls in, he would just be so aggressive and the keeper would come out and block my shot. So credit to him on that. I've never seen that before, but it was something that was very, very effective. So it ended up being a real good defense tactic, because I don't think he was overly great defensively, but his keeper movement was just on point. So he ended up going up 1-0. We couldn't capitalize on our chances, and then he got a red card, as you guys saw before there. Unlucky on his part, but what are you going to do with that? It was just one of those things that I've had happen against me as well. I've said this for a long time. I know you guys are probably going to think I'm crazy, but I've been a big believer that in FIFA's game code, when you get a red, your players actually take on their sliders move up. They take on, I guess you would call it like superhuman strength, but you basically get a boost to your players' sliders when you get a red. I don't know why that is. I have a feeling that they've just don't want a player to feel like he's getting totally dismantled because he's a man down. So I feel like they've just added an extra boost to players, and your sliders drop, his sliders go up, similar to what we're going to get into in the future with handicap. So I'm not using that as an excuse here. The guy was a better player, but my team really fell through the floor. You're going to see a lot of opportunities where they're just, they're taking really heavy touches now. And since that guy's red card, my team just couldn't generate anything offensively. And you guys are seeing that. Like, look at these little things. They're not locking onto the ball. It was just really easy for him. Now, he was good on the sticks, but my players would normally be able to come in and just take the ball. He was just kind of crab walking and stuff like that, which this year hasn't really been that effective, but it was just really way too easy for him to be able to maneuver through my defenders that are all like team of the season players for the most part. So you guys are seeing here, I've had some real tough goes offensively, but his players were just playing superhuman strength, like picking out balls out of the air. Like, that's the point of the lofted pass and the lofted through ball. So I left a lot of these clips in that might not have seemed like a whole lot of engaging content, in the sense that they're not goals per se, but I'm trying to leave that in there to show you guys the story of the game. So basically, once this team went down to 10 men, they just became superhuman. My players were running offside. They were hiding behind players on the opposite team, and I just couldn't generate any offense. My team just kind of fell through the floor. So again, you can call it a conspiracy. You can say that I'm just like wearing my tinfoil hat, but like I've said this before, I'm a big believer that when red cards happen, your team falls through the floor. So this was the third game we went into. You guys know from my standpoint, I don't like playing after a loss, and we are going to get into why in this video, but I have a very, very strong belief that morale is in the game. So I think you can survive losing one game and going back in. Your team won't play too bad. But if you lose 2 in a row, that third game, you're basically not going to stand a chance. So this team was very playable still. Like, they were doing fine. As you see here, Ansu Fati makes that run through. This guy was kind of pressing really high, and I caught him on the counter. I don't really consider myself a counter-attacking player, but fortunately for me, he ended up getting caught on the break there, and I was able to capitalize. So we ended up going up 1-0. This guy was a decent player. He wasn't fantastic, but we weren't able to capitalize with a second opportunity here. I thought we had a second one here with Sowell. He got that shot away, but unfortunately Sowell had the shot saved by Oblak. And that was a chance that we really, really needed here, because going up 2-0 against this guy would have been very beneficial, because he ends up doing this. He kind of runs to the side. Thankfully, that's what Sergio Ramos does really well, is he kind of protects the middle really well. And then the ball comes in. I head it out. He ends up just running around the side, does this random flick with Sadio Mane, and then just volleys it in. So that was one of those ones where really I couldn't defend it. The header, you can't direct where the header is going to go out. Falls to his man, he head passes it, flicks it over, and even if I read it, I think that still would have gone in. So Credit to him, I guess, for the goal. This guy was quite toxic to play against, though. Like, he was, pausing it quite a bit, and he was just a weird dude. And then this is basically the end of the game here, so I'll take fault for this one. My team was kind of playing a little bit odd right now. I was trying to test how they felt, but their passes were going astray. And then when I went in to go try to get that 50-50 ball, I didn't mean to like slide tackle the guy. I just wanted to collect the ball. But I felt like my team's passes were starting to fall through the floor a little bit after that goal. And then he ends up getting a red card. So I paused it to check, and I was just like, yeah, sure enough, with Griezmann, I ended up getting the red. So like I said in the last game, I have a feeling that you do get a boost after that. However, you can say whatever you want about me here. I just was like, you know what, I'm not going to play this game on a red card. So I ended up quitting. That's my bad. The downside with that, the real detrimental downside with that, is now I'm going in on a 2-loss win streak, so my team's morale drops to the floor. So this game is going to be really a lot longer because I'm going to dissect the play, and I want to show you what happens when I view your teams getting handicapped when you've lost games consecutively on the bounce. We went straight into a third game, so you're going to see me pause a lot of gameplay here, but I want to show you guys offensively and defensively what happens. So passes like that, where the guy would have taken it first time, he's taking an extra touch. They're taking it away from the play. Little things like that. So I'm not going to dissect that play, but he ends up scoring the first goal. And then after that first goal is when the team really starts to regress. So think of it like if your team's getting morale, and what I mean by that is you've lost 2-3 on 4 on the bounce or whatever, your team kind of starts at a bit of a deficit, but essentially once the opponent scores a goal, it's like your team just drops to the floor. All these little things start happening. Defensively, they don't lock onto balls. They don't utilize space very well. I'm going to show you all these plays that will actually freeze frame it. He ended up getting a second goal here where it feels like defensively, actually I ended up blocking that on the penalty, but defensively, it feels like everything you're doing, your players are just a step behind. Now, that's a perfect example. Very simple little through ball. He had the tramp on. I needed that goal, but that pass just goes astray straight to his player. So as you guys can see, offensively, a lot of things are just falling to his players, but defensively, my team's falling through the floor. They're opening up gaps, and this is a good example. Offensively, when I had the ball here, watch the striker that I'm trying to play it to. All of these guys not only are sitting flat, but they're all moving behind defenders. So they're not standing space. So what I want them to do is when there's like an actual defender here, I want my player to identify space and create a passing lane. Instead, when you're getting handicapped, your players will move in behind. So what it does is it will underhit those types of passes, and it will create a very narrow passing lane so the ball gets underhit, and either your player backs up and the defender comes from behind and collects it, or they're just going to intercept it because the ball is going to get underhit. So this is another example. Pass comes in. I want the return ball. I play the ball back to Ansu Fati, but he turns away from it. So what that's doing is it's underhitting the pass, and he'll do a little jerk movement, which you guys will see when the play starts, and he runs away from it. So it creates a longer passing lane and allows the defender to step in and intercept it. See, he does a little jerk there. Defender comes in, just takes the ball. That type of stuff does not happen when your team's playing really well. Here's another example of defensive ineptness. Now, this is the 45th minute, so I attribute a lot of that to 45th minute cheese as well. So Thiago and Saul's running the ball down. Thiago's here covering the man. They're basically on top of each other. This guy runs across and plays the ball through them. Now, if you rewind that, watch Thiago. Thiago doesn't even make an effort to not only cut the ball off, he basically just watches it pass him by. And it results in a goal because now this guy's able to get the ball to his player. Sergio Ramos lets Mohamed Salah move in front of him. And then when he gets the shot, he's just a step behind. So you guys saw in the replay, the keeper come out, basically drop. Sergio Ramos is here. He'll open up his legs and the ball rockets through this, like, basically this sliver of opportunity right into the top corner. Now, I know this sounds like sour grapes, guys. I know that what this sounds like. I know it sounds crazy. What I'm trying to establish here is when your team's playing good, they're picking out passes. And you guys are going to see that with the future games that we play once we're able to get the morale back up. But during games like this is not a coincidence, okay? When you lose, these things start happening, okay? So offensively, your players they don't have the same. So they don't have the same touch and feel. So this guy overcommitted with Puyol. When I cut there, I wanted the shot quick. Instead, he took an extra touch. Puyol comes, covers the ground, blocks the shot, and he's away with it. Now here, another opportunity for me to show defensively. Instead of all of these guys, there were 6 players around Pele. All he had to do was a drag back. Very simple drag back. My players were just running around and they were moving. They're basically opening up and they're allowing passing lanes. So you can see his players offensively will open and they'll find gaps. My players won't do that. Now here's another example. As we're coming in, I'll create this pass. I want this pass to be like a very simple through ball. Instead, he plays it basically right into the defender. Now, there's just so many examples of that in this game. Again, Thiago making the run. Instead, he runs into Messi. I want him to just run off his shoulder and I want to slip a pass. Instead of being able to slip a pass, he basically kicks it straight to the defender and Thiago jumps over the ball. Now, just example after example here. Now, again, he's going to do the drag back. I can see he's doing the drag back. I'm trying to pull my defender right in front of where the drag back's going to be. He takes a touch that knocks it into Pele's path, gives Pele a shooting opportunity, and now Boateng is out of position. Like, it's just so frustrating. So anyway, after that, I was like, I need to go ultra attacking here and break what's happening here, because during the current settings, if you're playing on your balance or if you're playing on your attacking, it's not going to do the job. So you have to essentially go ultra attacking, get all those players up top, and you also have to go team press. Now here's another example. Defensively, Thiago hitting O to body him, because if I don't hit O, he's just going to run straight past. So again, I move my player in a position. I'm not hitting O anymore. I know he's going to cut back. I want him to cut back into me. Look at what Thiago does. He auto lunges. It allows the player to cut in like without anybody stopping it. Plays the pass very easily to Mane, and Mane hammers the ball into the net. Now, those types of things, and again, Sergio Ramos, a step behind. Like, my defenders, Boateng and Sergio Ramos in this game were always a step behind. So it's not just, I know that this guy's got Mohamed Salah, he's got Pele, but my defenders have been able to, when they're playing well, handle these guys no problem. This game, they were always a step behind. Now again, this is De Jong here. Rewind that and watch that again. He not only doesn't take the touch into space, he takes it into, like, back towards where the defender is, so the defender will have a touch, be able to come back and intercept it. And then he plays the ball with his left foot. So instead of curling it right around the defender, he takes it with his left. Closest to the defender, he takes it with his left foot, and the defender's able to not intercept it, but the ball basically doesn't have any arc on it, and the keeper comes out and just collects it. Like, it's just example after example. And again, I know little things that you guys think I'm just complaining here, but I'm not upset because I'm losing. I'm losing because my team is playing badly. Now, no offense to this guy. This guy was a decent player. He had some good cards, but like, here's a really good example. He should have just played that through ball right there. He would have had a goal. My Sergio Ramos completely out of position. Instead, I know he's going to run in and just cut back. He's going to try to pull a move, and he's going to try to cut across the top of the box. When he didn't play that ball, I knew exactly what he was going to do. Bang, bang, intercept. I know what's going to happen. So now we're breaking out here. Okay, 3-on-1. What I want, you can see his player. He chose his player, was coming towards me. I want Messi to jet ahead. 99 Messi. I want him to jet ahead so I can play that through ball. Instead, watch the heavy touches these guys take. Watch this touch that he takes. 1 to go backwards, and then 2 cuts it forward in a heavy touch so the defenders can get back into position. Then the pass to Thiago. Thiago, it's under hit. Thiago has to lean and hit it, so he's got no power on it. And then you're going to watch Messi. Messi's going to run away from the ball, so now he's not heading in on goal anymore, and it gives opportunity for all his defenders to run back. Now, I know this is a mouthful, guys, but just please try to stay with me here. Like, this is not sour grapes at the loss. I'm trying to get you guys to understand that this stuff happens to you too. This is what happens when your team loses. Your team's like offensive awareness, defensive awareness, their strength, it all falls to the floor. And like simple things like keepers parrying shots, like he won't just grab it, they'll parry it. They'll push it into the direction of your opponent's players. It's such easy passes, and I can't defend it. Like, I can't do anything. So it was just a game full of that stuff. And the only way to kind of break it is to get your team on ultra attacking team press, because it kind of breaks the mold. But if your team's getting moraled, they're just going to fall through the floor. They're going to underhit passes. They're going to stand behind defenders. They're not going to do it. And I went and played offline because this is my thing with this game. So we'll get into this in a sec, but what you guys are seeing here is playing offline. Your team is still actually getting handicapped even when you're playing offline. So I want to show you guys, watch this extra step that Jordan Henderson takes. When your player is getting handicapped because of morale, that type of stuff, it stutters. And what it's doing is it stutters so the defenders, defending AI can move into position to intercept the ball. The only reason that you don't notice it if you're playing offline is because the defense on offline is not smart enough to actually come attack you. But online, it's too aggressive. These guys will take advantage of those things, and you're having to not only play your opponent, which is already sweaty enough, you're having to fight the game. Okay, so going offline when your team's getting morale like that, go offline, put it on amateur. I know it's mind-numbing to do this, but play against squad battles and just crush them, like 2 games. Just get their morale back up, and I promise you, your team's going to play totally different. Now, this is the 4th game. This is after we played offline, okay? So just watch the way my team is playing, okay? Completely different. Everything is sharp, crisp. They're attacking balls. They're getting to it. Messi saves that, okay? Everything is crisp. Now, that was just a poor decision on my part, but what I'm trying to get at here is even defensively, they're reading plays a lot better. Now, again, that was just my defense that was poor there. I'm not trying to make a point there, but like I'm leaving a lot of this stuff in because I want to show that those types of tackles like that weren't happening in the last game. My players were running around. They weren't locking in. These types of passes, ping, 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 real simple. Plays to De Jong. De Jong, one-time pass. He's like a 94 rated team of the season. He felt like a bronze in that last game when he was getting handicapped. Couldn't make a pass. What was any highlight that you even remember him doing? In this game, he's stepping up. He's tackling. He's actually doing things that are aggressive to get the ball back. Like, look at how aggressive my defense is. And they're stepping up. They're stepping into the play. I know this was offside, but I wanted to get that actual interception there. When the player turns around, my player comes, takes the ball. If you read the play, like these types of plays, you'll actually be able to like stop shots. You'll be able to break up play. You'll be able to, your passes will go to where you want them to. Everything was so much crisper in this game. This guy wasn't even a bad player. It's just my team was playing the way they should, which is like a team of the season. Like, look at all these little touches that they're taking. Into Messi, bang, bang, bang. That, I wasn't even close to being able to do that in the last game. And if you can't see that, guys, I don't know how much clearer to make it. If you want to call me crazy, go ahead, call me crazy. It's fine, and you're not the first person to do it. Every time I've said that this exists, people either believe it, they just go, yes, I get it, or they're just deniers in general, and they can't prove it, they just deny it. They just go, it doesn't exist because EA says it doesn't exist. Like, it's just nonsense. Like, look at these simple little things. Like, look at Griezmann here. Like, he was nowhere to be found in the last game. He just powers through, bang. Like, that type of run, I wasn't doing anything different than I was doing in my previous game. I wasn't playing on tilt. I wasn't angry. It's just the team was getting handicapped. Went offline, crushed the computer. They came back and played there was a totally different team. Now, again, I don't know if this guy's team was getting handicapped. That's something that only he could tell you, right? Now, I know people don't want to believe handicap exists, but the point I really want to get across here is this has to go. Like, morale There's something in the code that they need to look into here. Like, it's just absolutely crazy that losing games will make your team not be able to do that. I read that play, moved my Thiago in a position, he intercepted it. That was not happening in the last game. This was actually a goal from this guy that was quite a nice goal. He kind of dangled his way through my players. Actually, he didn't end up scoring that, but he ends up scoring a goal. He was a good player. He was legitimately quite good. He wasn't using the greatest team. He had a couple reds in his team, but just like look at how aggressive my players were. They were just making these moves in tight. Get the ball on Griezmann's left foot. He's able to hit that shot, bend it into the corner. You know what I mean? Like, they were just prolific. Everything was crisp, bang, bang, bang. If you're losing, go offline. Go offline, play a couple games. Totally different team. I promise you guys, I've tried this out with friends. I have a friend that plays online quite a bit. Him and I kind of compare teams a lot. He was having the same thing. I asked him what his record was. He said, you know what, my team's just getting beat. There's that goal that the guy scored. But he's like, my team's just getting beat. I'm like, how many games have you played in a row? He goes, I'm 0-4 in my last 4 games. I go offline. He came back online. Totally different team. He ended up going 3-0. Like, is that a coincidence? Like, is it a coincidence? Because I don't know. If it's a coincidence, please tell me. But, like, I just think you're crazy if you can't think that this exists. Like, again, this guy might be getting handicapped just because his team's getting crushed here, but he might have been getting the same thing. Like, if this guy lost a couple games, maybe that's why those bounces aren't going his way. My players are bumping into his and then just coming away with it. It makes it feel like my team's superhuman. But this, again, was a game where even though this guy went ultra attacking, he went team press at one point, all I had to do was kind of weather that. But once I scored, he couldn't really do anything. You know what I mean? Like, look at my team. They're covering the runs. Everybody's man-to-man. And look at that turnover. Unable to score here. This was actually a quite good save. I don't know why Griezmann took that with his right. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you saw from the build-up there, every player was marked. In my last game where I was getting handicapped, I had 10 guys back or 8 guys back or whatever it was. And they were just sitting there. Like, they might as well have been a pylon because you had his attacker here, his attacker here, his attacker here. And my guy would be right in the middle. And anybody that knows anything about football knows that that's the easiest thing. That's what you want as an attacker. You want to be able to see your options in clear passing lanes. And that's essentially what happens when you're getting handicapped. Your players move out of the way. And then as soon as they get the ball, the opponent gets the ball, they'll take a shot and your player will come sliding just a second too late. It makes it look like, yeah, you were almost there. It's not super obvious. But like things like the ball gets passed and your player kind of stutters a little bit, so he just misses out on intercepting the play. Like or intercepting the ball. It's just mind-numbing, and it's clear as day. If you sit there dissecting the game, I promise you're gonna see all these little intricacies that happen in the game code to affect your team, and why this game is so frustrating. And so many people play it. And they just get so angry at it. And they're just like, why is this happening? This game. But they can't figure out, they can't articulate it. And I promise you, a lot of it just has to do with sliders. A lot of it is like tactical abuse, right? But if you're losing games, I promise you, it's because you're getting handicapped because of morale. I swear. That has to be the example. Because it is not a coincidence that I'll lose 3 in a row and then I'll win 4 in a row. Like, I don't know any other way to explain it. But anyway, guys, I know that I've sat there kind of beating this drum all day, but I'm hoping you guys can finally kind of see what I'm seeing here. I've said this has been in the game for years, and I'm hoping they finally get rid of it here. But anyway, so to end off this video, we did end up winning that 5th game after we ended up going offline, getting the team back to where they need to be morale-wise, and then they just ended up crushing an opponent and playing the way all those players played the way I was hoping they would play when I bought them. But we ended up finishing the game off here, or finishing this video off here by picking up 2 final players there. So Marc-Andre Ter-Stegan got picked up there with 120K, something like that. And then we ended up selling Antoine Griezmann. We're going to put Toni Kroos in there. And then we're going to move Frankie de Jong into that cam position and have Messi and Ansu Fati at the striker position. So that's the way the team's going to be. So until next time, guys, take care. Peace.